And I'm not talking the about the how would I put it, the middle class South Africans now. What do they, you know, the power brokers, this black South African power brokers, what do they think about this? I mean, people like yourself who are in parliament, what do you think about this? What do you see? What can you tell the audience about plans for black South Africans?
Quickly, Mama Khanyisile, before you go, because you are definitely the expert on this one, and I know you will address it accordingly. So, when you say Mandela had a plan, what plan? And first of all, as you ask that of South Africa, this is the issue everywhere in Africa. Kenyans, the leaders who came in, did not have a plan. Nigerian did not. The plan is not an African plan.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it takes a lot of judo to have these conversations, because seriously, I'm doing all kinds of gymnastics to have these conversations with you all, because this is how my brain is operating. The plan is not even theirs. No. The liberation is not even theirs.
Yes,
so they can't even have a plan.
We're using the wrong software, wrong apps.
Right? They're not even liberated, so they can't even have a plan. So to ask why do they not have a plan is like, they're not even in control. They're being told what to do. That's the beginning of the problem. So the problem of Africa today is because of betrayers. Let's just say that. If we can sum it in one sentence, it is the betrayers. And so when Mandela comes in, he, as much as we want to empathize with him, he betrays his people. He betrays his people. And so does Kenyatta. And so does very few African leaders. And those who did not betray their people were killed, right? Those who did not betray. So you can't ask, why are South Africans not creating multinationals? And for me, who understands what's happening, I can almost laugh. And I think I should just start laughing every time that question is asked. Like, how is someone who doesn't even know how to put food on their table supposed to think multinational?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My mother is worried. My mother literally in Kenya is worried about food. My aunt is helping them with food. Imagine my mother. That's why she tells me, Nduku, I don't want this conversation. I want peace. How is she supposed to think about a multinational? So, Mama Khanyisile, let's take it over.
Yes.
Yeah, I am borrowing Ndugu's phrase in one of our groups when she was assisting in policy writing for my party on African language culture, and it was African language culture and
spirituality.
African language and culture.
I think
yes, where one of us in that group was very sick because she ate lion meat, and Ndugu was just like, I can't with my people. Before I even tell you get better, I mean, what were you doing eating a carnivore? It eats humans. So that's where I am, Ndugu. I'm borrowing your phrase. I can't with my people. I really can't. I also, when Babatunde asked it, I was just like, are you really asking me that? Are you really asking why South Africa has not produced African multinationals? Which country has produced them from Cape to Cairo? Not even North Africa, that we think is doing better. Not even Morocco, Algeria, Egypt has produced them.
Yes.
And that's because the global political and economic space is itself very ring-fenced and very racist, which is why each time, my sister Ndugu, somebody talks about a globalization and multilateralism, I'm just like, what are they talking about? They're using glib words that mean nothing. I mean, America still does what it wants, and the West supports them. So there is no multilateralism. There is no global revolutionized or transformed economic and political system. We are still suppliers of raw material and importers of the finished product. We are still neo-colonized. That's why we call it neocolonialism. It's a new way, but it's still colonialism in the African continent. So, yeah, and then let's talk about the plan. Babatunde think there was no plan. Of course there was a plan. The plan was to destroy the African people in this country. Why do you think I said South Africa is a mental asylum? Africans are very angry, actually. And you want to come here as an economic migrant to a mental asylum. You're actually very brave, if I can tell all the, I don't call them foreign for me because this is Africa. I just call them non-South Africans. You are very brave to even want to come here. This is a mental asylum. It's at boiling point. The people are so angry because only now are they realizing the big sellout that happened in 1994 through the CODESA talks. Some of us, I mean, I came back from exile with the ANC. I have never been an ANC member as a political party. I've never voted for them. I have never been aligned with them in any way. Actually, what was coming out of those talks at that time, my sister Ndugu, made me sit my family down. We are 8 and I'm the last child. And when I came back, I think about 5 or 6, I'm not counting properly. No, only one had passed on. So all 7 were still alive when I came back. And my mom, only my dad and my brother had passed. Because they were very crazy about the ANC. Remember, the ANC in 94 got an overwhelming majority. So they were very crazy. I sat them down and I said, these people are not going to take an African anywhere slow, let alone fast. They wanted to eat me alive. So I thought, okay, let me step back and allow them to see the ANC for themselves. Even Africans were engaging at the time. They would kill you. I mean, the ANC was the darling of the nation. I was at UCT that time, Babatunde. I was starting my junior degree. When I was looking at the television, March and April that year, 94, and seeing the overwhelming majority the ANC was going to get, I was becoming sick mentally. I'm not lying. I was really getting sick. There was a lecturer of mine that taught me politics that time, Mary Simons. She's the daughter of Jack and Ray Simons, known white trade unionists who stood with the African struggle before 1994 against apartheid. She could see that something was beginning to affect me because it was even beginning to affect my grades. She called me aside and she said, what is going on? I told her, I said, you know, the ANC is not going to take us anywhere. I've seen them for myself in exile. And she said to me, I'm going to assist you. They are still going to be around at least for the next 30 to 40 years. That's the norm in Africa before people wake up. Do yourself a favor, go for counseling. She said to me, relationships are like two people facing each other with tubes connecting them. So she said, cut the tubes on your side and let them dangle on their side. Help yourself because otherwise you're going to be mad. They'll still be around. So I am sharing this to make you see that the plan was there. The plan was to destroy, and it was very evident even at the time. I mean, when the ANC went and said, let us take Defense Force, they went and they said, all the SADF, which was the white racists then, can keep their force numbers, and everyone's coming us in 94 should have new force numbers. It means when you're a white racist HR person sitting there and looking at promotional aspects or anything or training opportunities, you don't need to even see my name. You look at the first number and you know this is one of us. You look at the first number and you say this is not one of us, right there. And I mean, MK people did revolt in Valmanstal during that time. What did Mandela say? Mandela called Umkhonto weSizwe. He's the ANC's own armed wing. He called us a rebel movement. Yes, on television. So don't tell me there was no plan, Babatunde. There was a plan. Where we are struggling now with illegal migration, because South Africans are not talking about a legal migration, they're talking about illegal migration. Where we are struggling with illegal migration, that whole area, there was an electric fence properly, a proper border fence. Mandela said, take it down. What was the plan? Not what do you think the plan of turning black on black was not part of the scheme? Oh, I think it was. What did he think was going to happen? He said do that while he knew very well that the ANC is not going to provide anything for the black child in this country. So you're telling me there was no plan, Babatunde, there was a plan. You are talking about shutting white businesses. I want to laugh like Ndugu. I laughed at a Nigerian and they got a shock of their lives. He said, oh, so we are also going to expel ShopRite. I laughed so loud. I said, expel them. How did you allow them there in the first place? It's not an African business. I sit in the Committee on Foreign Relations in Parliament. I am fighting with my EFF counterpart in that committee. We are always fighting every report we get. that foreign relations, we call it DECO here, that they table to us and they say so many South African businesses doing business in Africa. We look at the list and we say they're all white. It's all former apartheid businesses, or it's businesses that have come to locate themselves in South Africa. Oladele. They are European businesses with their headquarters is here. So they are parading as South African businesses. They are not South African. Shut them down. How did you allow them in the first place, Africa? I want to ask. You should have been the first ones to ask, why are these businesses so white? It comes back to what Ndugu was saying. There's no collective effort anymore. You should not have allowed them. I've been to 39, and actually I must count, maybe it's actually even more than 39 now, African countries. On the flight to African countries, Oladele, you sit with former apartheid, you sit with African boys who are getting businesses and opportunities in this continent, they are running mines in this continent, and when South Africans are contracted, it is like the spanner boys to be miners. But the engineers, the people in charge, it's still white South Africans. So you want to shut down South African businesses, please shut them down like yesterday. And maybe you're going to force South Africa to start looking at taking African businesses of South Africa to the continent. You talked about the Spasa shops, Babatunde. No, that's a legacy of our parents, and you can't rubbish it like that also. Small and medium businesses produce multinational businesses. You can't kill the small and the medium business but you want to produce multinationals. Spasa shops were started by our parents and our grandparents from nothing when apartheid had locked them out of the economic chain. And they said, instead of you waking up to go to town to buy from a white person, let me be the middleman at least. Let me open that business here so we can start growing together and supporting one another. That the ANC started giving licenses to Pakistanis. I can't even, in Pakistani, they'll throw acid on my legs if I even walk down the street there, preaching human rights and preaching gender rights. But we have allowed them. They never supported our struggle. Pakistanis are running amok here, running Spasa shops in South Africa. Who gave them the licenses? We go back to your African National Confusion. That's what I call them officially. I don't call them African National Congress. Go back to them. How have they been issuing those licenses to Pakistanis? Issuing them to Somalis. We were grey listed, my sister. Do you know why we were grey listed? Because the Pakistani and the Somali here were washing money that is ISIS related. So there's blood in the hands of this country. So our soil is now becoming soaked with blood that we have nothing to do with as Africans in this country, of Islamic fundamentalism that is so anti-women, killing people indiscriminately. So, for me, honestly, Babatunde, Cyril doesn't have a plan. No, Cyril is not stupid.
Says his name is Babajide. No, Babatunde. Babajide.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Babajide.
Babajide.
Babajide. Babajide.
Yes.
Cyril is not stupid. Please mark my words. He can come off like a lame dog, but he's not stupid. I mean, he's catapulted to be one of the richest South Africans currently that we have produced after 94. So he's not stupid. It's not that he doesn't understand how business works. He's part of the plan. Let me summarize the plan quickly. It was never the intention of the ANC to break this country from colonialism or from neocolonialism. The plan was to keep the status quo. The plan was to keep the African majority silenced, or I'm looking for the English word, sort of like make them think they are free, but they are actually not free, while the status quo.
An illusion.
An illusion, a bubble. Yes, a bubble. Because look at even the national anthem. What forced the ANC to attach a former racist national anthem to an anthem that we share collectively with Zambia?
I am so glad you said that, because that is what I was coming to. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I sit down. Whenever that anthem is sung, I don't care what the formality of that occasion is. When it comes to that English version, my anthem has ended. I sit down. I have no business with that anthem.
But not just that, Mama Khanyisile, as you speak of the anthem so that you can get deeper, not just that. That is part of Mandela's failure. The fact that he brought a Boer version into the anthem. talking about bringing the people together, settler colonialists with.
Yes.
So yes.
It's no. The ANC's never had the intention, Babajide, to take this country anywhere. Because can I tell you, in MK camps, I'm a former guerrilla, which is why I joined Umkhonto weSizwe even now. In MK camps, we talked in the darkness of Angola, in the camps. We would plan this post-apartheid era. And one thing we knew, even our songs, even our liberation songs, the majority of them said so, that the liberation of South Africa will be the liberation of Africa. How quickly did the ANC forget that? Because the ANC is West. The ANC is part of the G20. They are part of the OECD. They are part of everything else. That is a sideshow. That is not even lawmaking, where we pay to be even members, and they will argue and tell you, when I raise this in my committee, they'll tell you, oh, but we are, we are a neutral country. It's a multilateral world. We need to be in all these spheres. No, put your money where your heart is, would be me. That money we are paying at OECD and all these places, why don't we pay it to the AU? I know we are one of the paying countries at the AU, but we can pay more. If we can afford to be paying at OECD and all these platforms, we can pay more at the AU. So they've never had a plan, and I'm sorry I'm taking time. You really have unleashed me, because no, that organization currently, honestly, I am waiting for the death of the ANC. They have killed this country. You must go and see what's happening at municipal level, where your heart just breaks. You are seeing sewer water mixing with drinking water. Not even the poor government fed its people that water. When your lights were switched off during apartheid, you knew that you didn't pay. Not because the state has failed to produce electricity that's adequate enough. And then they have a nerve to talk about 9 wasted years. As far as the ANC is concerned, they are doing okay. The only years that were wrong was when Zuma was in government. Otherwise, all these years have been good. And, they even have a line. They say we have a good story to tell. I don't know. I feel like Ndugu could be in some of those gatherings with a whip and just start whipping people up. Because aren't you seeing the state of your people? Surely you are, but you are in the script because you're doing exactly what you were asked to do. I think before I hand it over, I just want to talk quickly about workers' rights also. We have retarded the struggle for workers' rights in South Africa, my sister Ndugu, because of illegal migration. You have employers out there. So if they say the basic salary is 12,500, because I'm paying you over the counter, I mean, you're illegal. You're not registered. You have no documents. So I will tell you, okay, Ndugu, I will pay you the 12.5. Then you can divide that with 2 of your other colleagues, because I'm employing 3 of you together. Can you see why we don't want illegal migration, people? It's even to protect the very people who are migrating, but also it's retarding our workers' rights, because if you're an employer, who are you going to prefer? A South African that know their rights, that will toy, that will call a march and march, a South African that will go on Twitter and expose you, or a person that won't expose you, because even if you take that 12,500 and you divide it by 3, it's still money that they did not have. So we are retarding the workers' struggle, something we prided ourselves on in 94, and we said our workers' struggle is one of the most advanced. You cannot exploit our workers. Well, we've brought back that exploitation through the window. And then you have just one last thing, and I know Ndugu is going to fly off this podcast right now. How is Oranje an issue? How? There's no government in South Africa. What does the Constitution say? How is a white enclave based on racism, on excluding the indigenous people, operating in broad daylight in South Africa under an ANC government? And then you expect citizens to march there and dismantle it. Huh? Like, what are we dealing with here? And I'm saying all these things because I'm trying to make you see we've become a mental asylum. And nobody should be coming here for anything until we solve this mental asylum, Ndugu, honestly.
Unless they're coming to join the fight.
Unless they're joining the fight. Thank you, my sister. Ndugu, you talked about Zulus with spears. Oh, no. Traditional way in South Africa is part and parcel of our everyday life. I know someone told me in Kenya that no, not here. Even when they march against electricity, they will still be carrying their spears and their shields and it's part of them. That's who they are. They are not carrying them because they want to attack our fellow African brothers. And poverty has a skin color, people, in all our countries, not just in South Africa. But I think another